Hi, how are you? Changed location again for the show this week. I actually moved out of Virginia last week and made a trip to another state much further north. I'm not going to disclose which state it is exactly yet, but it's definitely on the East Coast and it's definitely not in the South anymore. Um, a few quick topics to go through as reviewed in previous episodes and detailed much further in an older paper from the DOJ. Keep watching as things change economically. You're going to see a certain number of shell organizations and businesses, especially out in Hollywood, begin to collapse. I know things look like they're kind of stable, but are they really when so many people have been criticizing Hollywood and saying it's basically going to keep deteriorating? And a lot of it has to do with the fact that most of the organizations were set up by people related to Russia, the former Soviet Union back in the 80s. If you've been following all of this in the business world, you've probably been wondering what to do with your investments. My only thought really is that you shouldn't be invested in a company like that in the first place. As far as legal interests go, there's going to be a lot of tracking of where the money goes afterwards because much of it's probably going to end up being funneled back to Russia and China. And that's not really acceptable. Anyways, so I just had to make some commentary on what is this thing with the Bud Light ad and social issues. I'm not even going to detail it because I don't think it's worth the time. Um, that's a really easy situation that, I've analyzed a number of times over the years, especially when I was living in the DC area, where essentially it's almost a non sequitur issue because how many Americans actually bother with drinking regular beer anymore? Most Americans are actually focused on craft beers and, whether or not it has hops and even buying gluten free beers. Or if you're like me, don't drink beer at all. I don't drink beer unless it's gluten free. So when I see an ad like that and the controversy around it, and it is a specific company where, if you follow the issues, you know exactly which company it is. I'm not going to say it in this video. But one thing I noted that was posted repeatedly online is how could there be so much interest in the way a quote unquote woman or not a woman is presented in an ad? And yeah, there's all these other companies that have misrepresented women in the past for advertising. All of a sudden now it matters as a social issue after like decades of women being presented misogynistically. It doesn't make any sense. And somebody that I've known for at least 10, 15 years point out that they thought it was just an act of obfuscation. I would agree. I would agree that it's meant to take people's attention off of possibly the Russia and Ukraine conflict, to take people's attention off of the banks that recently collapsed, because some of those are tied to Russia and Russian money. And I would think even to take some attention off of some of the recent acquisitions that have gone on in the business world over the past few weeks in the U.S. Again, just because something appears to be doing well doesn't mean it necessarily is. And just because a person or organization appears to be doing poorly doesn't mean they really are. Sometimes a win is a loss, and sometimes a loss is a win. And I just want to thank all of you who stayed with me through the years that I was doing my blog and worked in PR and then transitioned to healthcare. I'm definitely going to keep building my channel, and it is growing. The last show was up by 20% over the one before it. And one thing I want to point out to you is the one specific agency, just I don't have an agent or a manager, never had one, never signed with one. The conflict over one specific agent was just ridiculous, and he ended up in actual fist fights. It's horrible. And the U.S. government had to get involved to protect me. It's just a crazy situation. And I'd like to say it was over, but after what I just went through in Charlottesville, Virginia, it's definitely not. Because people related to that company were after me there, which is why I ended up leaving Charlottesville. And I'd love to say my situation was unique. I'd love to say that Americans don't struggle with being trafficked or people trying to traffic them, especially if they're intelligent like me. Unfortunately, they do. And it goes on in the U.S. It's not as bad as other countries, but it does happen here. And, for that, I can only say I'm just grateful to the friends and people that I've known in my life who were supportive of me in living my life and working legitimate employment instead of just being trafficked to crazy people. And all of you, in your struggles, I wish you the absolute best every day. As far as, some of these ads that show up, or what I call almost invented controversies you see in the media, never forget that a lot of that is created by companies and organizations that are tied back to Russia, and maybe even other countries that really don't like the U.S. and like to cause trouble. But unfortunately, it's pretty much all been tied back to Putin and old KGB tactics. So for me, when I see something like an ad and people get upset on social media, it's like almost like a fabricated argument that makes almost no relevance to everyday life. Because again, most Americans actually consume or focus on craft beers now. And, you know, you're not going to stop Americans from buying beers that they actually like the taste of. It's just not going to happen. I'd be tempted to think that it was just an act of obfuscation, maybe even planted by a firm that was literally just tied back to Russia. And maybe even had nothing to do with the company itself. Or worse, the company actually is somehow tied to Russia, which is why they're even trying to get attention that way. It's a sophisticated topic and a concept to grasp, but once you get it, you'll stop caring as much about a lot that goes on in the media. For me, I'm got myself to a new location and I'm resting, enjoying myself, and working on my next project. Then that little network I'm building, my little TV shows will build. But you know, I hope you'll stay tuned and keep following it. There's a lot to go through here. It's very rich. I'm gonna perform the original version of Lavendar Haze. It was a song that was taken from me. I never got paid for it, and I've always wanted to perform it, so I'm gonna do it today. And I'm going to do it without any backup, so you can see it. I'm going to sing both parts. Okay? So it may be a little bit weird, but you'll get it. Meet me at midnight. Oh, oh, oh. That sounded terrible for branding, didn't it? Okay. Meet me at midnight. Oh, oh. Staring at the ceiling with you. Oh, you don't have to say too much. And you don't really read into my melancholy. I've been under scrutiny. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. You handle it beautifully. Yeah, oh, yeah. All this witness is not due to me. Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. I feel the lavender haze creeping up on me. So real. Damned if I do give a damn about people saying, no deal. The 1950s style they want from me. I just want to stay in that lavender haze. There you go. But a little boo 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 boo. All they keep asking me is if I'm gonna be your bride. The only kind of girl they see is a wild rhino bride. If I had to sing, yeah, oh yeah, they're bringing up my history, yeah, oh yeah, but you aren't even listening, yeah, oh yeah. Ooh, oh, oh. I feel lavender haze creeping up on me, so real. I'm never do give a damn what people say. No deal, the 1950s style they want from me. I just want to stay in that lavender haze. That lavender haze. Take your viral talk and go. I'm done with this love spiral. Get it off your chest. Get it off my desk. Get it off my desk. Take your viral talk and go. I'm done with this love spiral. Get it off your chest. Get it off my desk. Oh, oh, oh. I feel lavender haze creeping up on me. So real. I'm damned if I do give a damn what people say. So real. No deal, the 1950 shit that they want from me. I just want to stay in that lavender haze. Get it off your chest. Get it off my desk. Oh, that lavender haze. I just want to stay. I just want to stay in that lavender haze. Okay, so that is a totally impromptu. I'm not wearing a version of the song. It's the original song I wrote. Never got paid for it. First time I bothered to perform one of the songs that I wrote and didn't get paid for. Maybe I'll perform the rest because it kind of seems like it's about time for me to get paid for some of these things. And I am done doing ridiculous negotiations where I get threatened. Because that's what happened years ago when I was trying to put a lot into it. The struggle was real. I was just a woman who wanted to go to a job, have an employment contract, and get paid regularly. And there's no getting around the fact that some of these people were just completely nasty and thought they deserved to have things for free and thought they had right to beat people up. You think it's not real? Part of the time I was in Charlottesville, I organized the Department of Justice to go see a woman who had actually been mangled. She was missing an arm and a leg and permanent brain damage because some of the traffickers related to the Hollywood entertainment industry that were around D.C. and using the federal government, the contacts of the federal government. But we are going to talk about this for a minute because 20 years ago when I first arrived out there, I was lied to and told there was going to be an investigation, and there wasn't. It was very clear that I was just invited to come out there by a few people that I'd select jobs in the U.S. government that eventually to be fired, who thought they were just going to use me and track me. Didn't work out at all. Kind of like Putin trying to win the war in Ukraine. Just not working out. That's not working. Didn't work too well. And the thing about it is that some of the women I encountered were really frightening because some of them were scarily obsessed with Hollywood itself, and specifically the one agent I dealt with who was so nasty. Some of them told me that they would rather be beaten than be nothing. They'd rather be beaten by him, a man who clearly was tied to Russia and a Russian asset, and running a shell company. And by that I mean a fake front company for Russian crime, and frankly working for Putin. They'd rather be beaten by him than live a regular day of their life. And I just got really disgusted with a lot of them because they had no concern or consideration for people abused, and I thought maybe they were just really that pathetic, and I finally decided they were all just so crazy and so completely disloyal to human justice, human rights, normal common civil behavior, that they're all assets. And eventually, as part of the investigations, all these women ended up being marked off systematically as Russian assets. People, there is no coming back from that. Once the federal government, the military, or other people decide that you're just another Russian asset, and you start getting put on lists with you're a Russian asset with all these different agencies, local governments, county governments, state governments, federal governments, the military. It's no deal, girl. No deal. And it wasn't just that it was disgusting for me to deal with. It was really hard for a lot of people to deal with. So that may be the one positive thing about the current day and state of affairs, at least as far as the U.S. goes, the U.S. government goes, as far as what I had to go through, as far as those investigations. Completely unacceptable behavior. Don't ever speak that way to somebody who's dealing with a labor trafficking situation. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you're doing well. I made it safely to another state. I no longer live in Virginia. And that is great news. And I hope you're all doing well. So please take care and have a good day.